Nick's Nightshade on, and physical medium Michael Shane is with us again this evening. Hello, Michael. Hello, Nix. How are you?
Hi, well.
Feeling good.
Good. Thank you. So I'm just going to quickly go into something quickly. Just an update on the upcoming physical medium Michael Shane tour that is being hosted by Heaven on Earth in Toronto. The dates are officially out for February 11th for billet and apportation, and February 12th for dark room healing seance. You can go to www.heavenonearthhealingcenter.com and click on the link that says Michael Shane, and you're out for the tickets, and it's limited seats, so please grab your seats in advance. Thank you. I'll take it over to you guys now. Thank you.
Wonderful. So we don't have much time, Michael, but I'd like to carry over what we were talking about last week. And I understand that Saint Germain has given you a message. So I'd like to ask you the question that Saint Germain was asking you. So it's about the world and what's happening now and in the future. Can you elaborate that for us, please?
Yeah, so Saint Germain does not honestly go into a political scenario or the he said, she said situations. He just would like people to know what's going on because he's noticed a lot of confusion. He says that our media has changed quite a bit, that it's hard pressed to find anything positive on the news, and it's all about fear. He looks at the internet, the texting, the emails. He calls it the modern day devil because of what's being printed and what's going on out there. And not to mention a lot of children who get on social media to see that they're being attacked, and some suicides are being caused by all of that. But more to the point, his message is about the fear and what's really looking forward to happening in the tomorrow.
So what advice would you have for the outside world to help them really come into the center and not be a part of such busyness?
Well, first off, I actually will answer that in regards to what Saint Germain said to me. And that is, we have a life. Every one of us has an individual life. It may be similar to other people's lives. It may be different. It may have nothing to do with other lives. But we all have a similar connection, which is basically God. And we're all here for a specific divine purpose. And that's basically to learn duality. And so we will have experiences of the good and have the experiences of the bad, the positive, the negative, the love, the hate, things of that nature. And so what he's saying is, we need to start focusing on our own lives. Worrying about nuclear war and weapons doesn't do any good. We focus on our lives. We live every day the way that we feel is the best way to live, to help ourselves, those that we love, our families, our friends. Because if there's going to be a nuclear war, it doesn't matter whether you worry about it, because if it happens, there's nothing left. So what's the point of worrying about it? But God, he says, has a divine plan. And that divine plan does not include us destroying ourselves or going through a 300-year period and starting over after that for those that survive. Well, their descendants, that is. Okay? And that's if anybody does survive. So in that process, that's not part of the God's divine plan. And it's like this COVID, he says. He says it's a very real scenario. It isn't really what the media and what those in power are saying it is, or what really happened and how it occurred. But if you're going to worry about it and talk about it and bring it up all the time in fear, you're going to create it and connect it to yourself. It's best to just live your life, focus on your own backyard, and examine what's around and relate to or look at what happens if it happens to you. And that is why it's very important, and we've heard this in the 60s. People go, oh, they used to tell us that in the 60s. Well, Saint Germain is very adamant that meditation every day for an hour or more, and people say, well, I got enough time. Well, Saint Germain says there is always time. You can get up an hour earlier, or you can meditate and go to bed an hour sooner. So you meditate. You meditate on the violet flame, the blue fluid or the blue flame from El Moria, which causes the calming of the emotional storms. Right now, when you turn on the media and you look at social media and you look at the news and all of that, it's all about politics. It's all about the negative. It's all about this war, this nuclear bomb, that nuclear bomb. Get a shot or you're going to die, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He says we need to, as a group of people, stay within the confines of truth. Meaning, of course, if you go to an airport, you wash your hands. You teach your children to wash and clean up when they're in school, because that's a breeding ground of things. It's common sense. He says use common sense. But to put fear out there and to dwell on that fear, you're never going to move forward. So if you remove the fear, tomorrow will always have a new outcome. But if you hold on to the fear, tomorrow is going to be the same. Always fear, things going wrong, things happening that you don't want happening. That doesn't mean that you don't create a scenario to prevent some things. It doesn't mean you leave yourself wide open. It's just don't dwell on it. Don't buy in to the fear. And he was making a point he said back in the 1950s and 1960s, even up to the early part of the 1970s,
mm-hmm.
there was these organizations, these businesses that were selling bomb shelters. Well, to this day, there's some residents that have bomb shelters in their home that didn't originally put them there, that were never needed. Some say, well, it's best to have it and not need it, and need it and not have it. Okay, I can buy that, and so does he. But it was based on fear. Then what happened just before Y2K? Here comes these businesses wanting to sell these survival kits, and the meteor is going to hit the planet, and this is going to happen, and that's going to happen. Did it? Everybody bought all this stuff. Some people gave away their fortunes and all kinds of stuff. And then the day after, January 1st, we're still here. And I can't get my fortune back. I've got all these boxes of survival things, and so that's happening. And even now, if you turn on your cell phone, Google or whatever, it's them talking about these big giant asteroids and meteors that's been hiding behind the sun, and one is coming towards the earth. And it's like, where do we have to look for something positive? And since 2020, my own daughter, separate from what Saint Germain was talking about, she goes through her years of school, looking forward for her prom and a graduation, and her scholarship she got for school, the Montana State University.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't get a prom because of COVID. She didn't get a graduation because of COVID. And because of COVID and the people not going to school, she lost her scholarship because the only thing that they're doing is allowing people from India and from China to come in because the alumni is trying to make back all the money that they lost. So where is the positive? So these children, and one reason why Saint Germain brought this up to me was he heard both my daughters talk about this, but not just my daughters, children around the world that are millennials. There's not really anything there that's being said that they're to look forward to. And that is why he says, do not focus on the negative. Be aware, okay? Create discipline, but live your life as if the only thing that occurs in the outcome is what you create yourself.
Mhm.
Discipline yourself to mow your own yard. Don't worry about the weeds in the yard next door. So
Go ahead,
final part of what he was saying, fear not, believe in the self and love.
And I tend to agree. When you look at the world, I mean, anything and everything can happen. But I always believe, and I go by the simple rule, live every day as if it's your last. Plan for tomorrow, but live for today. And love as if you've always wanted to, as if you would want someone to love you, to treat you, and pass on that as if it was your last day. And you have no room for any other negative energy in your life. And if something comes to you that's not so pleasant, it's there to help you grow. But you're not there, to think to yourself, oh my goodness, why me today? Why this? There's no such thing as why. God doesn't answer why. These are all lessons in life, and we also have to pass on to the world that you have to live freely within your mind, and you are what you think all day long. If one bad thought, I can guarantee you, will transform into your life a lot quicker than one good thought. If that much, that much passion is put in that heart as a result of that, or fear, if you want to call it that. So I always believe, if you want something bad enough in your life, all the good, then you have to think about love and love only, and about how much you love to do this. Mm-hmm. So I believe we are.
Yes, down to 30 seconds. We are. So I think in a complete nutshell, I would also add on is let go and let God. Live every day to the fullest. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Rose with Nick's Nightshade, physical medium Michael Shane. Stay tuned for next week. We will be returning back. Thank you, and have a beautiful evening to all the beautiful souls in the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.